miles an hour. Bit of a mess on satellite and radar. We actually do have a active tornado warning far out to the eastern part of the state over towards Tuscarawas County. Very low risk for tornadoes today. The main concern is that of strong damaging wind gusts and some isolated large hail. That being said, you can see there's essentially a hole where we're seeing a lot of this storm activity, and that's mainly around Franklin County, south towards Pickaway. A lot of the storms that have been moving through parts of southern Ohio, that's continuing to weaken and push out to the east. This line of storm activity is mainly north of Columbus, and that's not even drifting so much to the south. It's moving generally to the east-northeast. And then, of course, the storm complex we've been tracking since it moved through Indianapolis, that is continuing to move to the east. But there are some signs that this is weakening a little bit. It's not as organized as what it once was, but still likely going to be packing a punch with some strong gusty winds and, of course, some heavy rain and quite the amount of lightning strikes. That's going to be pushing out of western Ohio, moving towards Columbus, probably within the next 2 hours. What we're dealing with just to the north, you can probably see the dark skies if you just look up north towards Delaware, Marysville, Bell Fountain, over towards Mount Vernon and Knox County. Certainly a different story where we're looking at some of these heavier downpours than versus what we're looking at to the south. And those far to the south and southeast over towards Oak Hill into around Jackson County, starting to clear up a little bit there, just north of Elizabeth, starting to see some of that heavier rain move through. Likely seeing a little bit of that activity over towards Athens as we head into the early part of the night. But for the most part, still looking at the main threats for us, of course, looking at damaging wind gusts, isolated large hail, relatively low risk for flash flooding, and that of isolated tornadoes. But again, still, even though we are seeing a little bit of weakening, we're likely to have some heavy rain nonetheless, and of course some of those breezy winds coming through as we head into this evening. Might have another 1 to maybe 2 hours of dry time here in Columbus before we'll see some of your showers and storms come through. If you have plans this evening, if you're going to be drilling out here in Franklin County, further to the south, definitely want to make sure that you're getting those outdoor activities in now, because you're not going to completely miss the storm as we head into the early part of the night, which by around 9 o'clock, that's when we'll start to see the changes for our severe thunderstorm watch. So a lot of this should expire, and then quickly we should see some improvements with our weather by the time we're at 11 o'clock tonight. So virtually the severe threat probably going to be done with by around 9, 10 o'clock across most of the state for us, maybe not so much for the far eastern extreme parts. But then guess what? We've got more chances for rain heading into tomorrow, although it's not going to be nearly as widespread, and it's not going to be as toasty. Temperatures will be climbing to the low 80s. But something I want to keep a close eye out for, because we will see some isolated downpours picking back up through the mid-morning, going into Monday. Rain, scattered showers, and storms popping up in the afternoon.